Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans. Don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's weekend show. This is Brian's funnily named Broiler Chicken Show. Buck, buck, buck. See, we have a couple people in the hangout with us. Not too many today. A couple guys who don't like to talk a lot on the site. Both of you too. Anyway, nice to see you guys in the hangout here. And I suppose we have a few people over there on YouTube. Maybe, actually, I can't even see the numbers here. I do see a few people there commenting in the room. So good to see you guys. Like to see the comments and the feedbacks. Let me know whether the audio is working. And everything's sort of humming along. Of course, we're coming into the end of March here. The end of spring, or excuse me, the end of winter, beginning of spring. I think spring started officially about 3 or 4 days ago. So always fun around the equinoxes. Yeah, I think this is the spring equinox. As well too, we have a big eclipse event happening. Interesting, I was studying up on WD Gann recently, how he traded solar eclipses, and he likes to basically map out his calendar on quarterly basis based on the eclipses. So it is interesting. Unfortunately, we'll just, let's head on over to the charts. We can't really use the dashboard right now. It's rather ill. Stuart is working vigilantly on it. Suppose this has been our message for the past 5 years, but hopefully Stuart will get things operating again the way they're supposed to be. Did notice some people were making comments that the weekly commodity trend survey data is out of whack. So Stuart, if you are watching this later on, I did post comments about that. I think it would behoove the team, if we do see comments in the lounge, to please acknowledge those comments. Please understand we're trying to get this thing back up and running as soon as possible. But might as well acknowledge the fact that the dashboard right now and the system is it's not operating correctly. Anyway, back to what I was saying there a moment ago. ES, and actually I'm just going to be operating completely off of things like TradingView charts. But we did have a really interesting situation. Unfortunately, I screwed it up by commenting about banging out doubles on all that in crypto land. I have to actually get rid of this and go back to my ES multi-year chart that was so pretty. But I think I lost it. So I had to replicate this chart over here, which I think I've done. So anyway, unfortunately, okay, so let's see if I can find this again. Maybe if I just go ES1 exclamation mark, it'll come back. Yeah, there it is. All right. So anyway, if we look at the broader stock market, do find it really interesting that the eclipse event happened there basically exactly when the market is supposed to pivot. The old adage, buy when it snows, sell when it goes. I did actually remember seeing references to last Halloween. Some of the kids actually had to go out and trick or treat in the snow, which was a little bit earlier than normal, but nonetheless absolutely perfect for our seasonal timing signal. And of course, there was the eclipse event. What was fascinating was exactly WD Gann's comment on quarterly movement. So if you think sort of like October, November, December, and then into early January, because the eclipse came in a little bit late, the eclipse window. Interesting to see the breakout here. Notice basically the first, second week of January. So it was almost like it was completely offset by a couple weeks, coming in a little bit late at the end of October. And then the pivot came in basically the middle of January, almost exactly that quarterly kind of thinking. And I suppose you could argue that the stock market trend resumption kicked in last week of January there. So anyway, I do like the idea that as we come into March here and we come into this eclipse window, I think we're going to see some sort of market pivot come in here. I'd also say, because of the fact that we haven't hit this A, B, C, D, which is just a very simple, pure harmonic pattern. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't hit that. That also is a little bit higher. And then also, if we do just a really simple Feigenbaum and chaos theory, thinking off of that most recent consolidation resolution to the bullish side, you also notice that's a little bit higher than where we are. And you want a really good lesson on Feigenbaums, look at where Bitcoin is right now. I mean, it's shocking. So, this was a price consolidation. This is a weekly chart. And we broke out through this range. So if you just draw Feigenbaums, notice there's 2.618. We went zooming above it. And of course, all the kids, they all go crazy. I mean, I couldn't believe it. There's something fundamentally wrong with my brain here. I couldn't believe when somebody showed me this. And keep in mind, through this nonsense here, like this guy, obviously he's done his course. And look at all the people that are in attendance. Look at them. They're all young guys. They all got like this facial do. I suppose I'm trying to grow my goatee back. Look at that. They're all young guys, right? Which is kind of interesting because I think the young male sort of part of our society is being really repressed right now. You can see like this is the millennial generation coming on hard here. And they're all full of piss and vinegar. And somebody said that they spent like $5,000 to listen to this guy just go circle jerk, circle jerk, circle jerk, buy Bitcoin, become a holder, hodler, diamond hands, right? The whole fucking thing. And Chris said, well, the reason why he does it because he's wearing his Gucci sweater. That's what sells the damn course, not anything that he said. And frankly speaking, he's not even teaching any of these people anything here with his rhetoric. He's just saying, buy Bitcoin. Why? Just because I said so. And this also reminds me of that Da Vinci guy who, 2 or 3 weeks ago, same sort of thing. We were actually even sharing it in the lounge. Let's see how many days ago it was. I mean, it's just shocking how brutal this crap is. And I think what's probably more disappointing is the fact that he actually was a TRI student, so he knows better than to act like this. It's just, he's part of this. You can, let's see. I mean, I'd just be curious. Let's see what the date was that he did of this. And I don't mean to call him out, but I'm going to call him out because frankly speaking, this was really, really terrible, terrible advice. So like he does like a video here. He says, I told you to buy Bitcoin at $1, and now I'm telling you to buy Bitcoin at 70 grand. So this is 2 weeks ago. And I mean, this was right into the circle jerk peak of this market. Right? Where the hell is 2 weeks ago now? Where the hell's the I can't get these silly links to work. Where was that? Was that over here? Yeah, it was. So that was like 2 weeks ago. That was right into this mania peak. And listening to him, look at the headline. Please, for yourself and family, buy Bitcoin now. Oh, goodness. Come on. God, I spent all these time doing these damn videos just to have the guy come out do that. And of course, you know, how many bazillion? 327,000 views 2 weeks ago. Hey, how's that trade going for you? You came in right at the very top of the market and told everybody to buy Bitcoin now. Please, please, you've got to do it. What are you? Are you on drugs? I'm so disappointed. Gotta tell you, very, very disappointed. So, I mean, you've got Da Vinci doing his thing, and of course, he was the guy who came out, and I've been barking at you guys forever that on this move up here, he's like, don't pay attention to technical analysis, just buy and you'll get rich. How did that go? And nothing seems to change. He's right back doing the same damn thing. And frankly speaking, you know, the reason why I say this is because I think it's like morally irresponsible. I mean, it's a perfect tell of this capitalist world and how evil capitalism is. And, you know, like, ironically enough, you know, and I've often told people this, of course, nobody ever listens to me. The worst thing that could possibly happen to our Western civilization was the collapse of the Soviet Union. Because now these capitalists, they're just running roughshod over top of us. And half of the shit that you see, I mean, like, it was interesting in the newsletter here, made comment. Chris, did you dude up that newsletter? Yeah, the link. You know, okay, cool. So let's see. Do we have, there it is. Thank you, sir. You are awesome. I even pointed out, like, just this past week, we had another sort of beloved asset here in the marketplace. And I know a lot of guys that first you know, took the education program with me like a decade ago on Bitcoin. And they were very, very active on things like Reddit. Now Reddit has basically gone the capitalist shill route that all these other social media entities have gone, which is really disappointing. You know, just yet another anecdote of the runaway capitalism. And if you actually look at how Reddit's doing, sadly, you know, remember the Coinbase IPO, same thing, you know, these capitalists just absolutely take advantage of the public. Oh, that's not a good way to start out the week. Ouch. Open up, big shooting star, and then face plant right into the end of the week. And, you know, for whatever it's worth, and this is the guy who's going to sort of tell you what industry standards are, you know, buy when it snows, sell when it goes, you know, all that kind of crap. Maybe take a screenshot of this, right? There's an old expression in the market that says that whatever the IPO price is, odds are the value of the actual asset. So they brought this thing to market where they opened it up there. What does that say? $47 even. So ironically enough, the industry standard usually is that this thing is probably worth half of that number. And, you know, the tragic part about this capitalist game is that there are a lot of people that were involved in this story to get this thing actually listed and IPO'd and actually now trading in the public marketplace. And, you know, that means getting, you know, like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all those jerks to actually buy into the story and take, you know, 1 million shares, 2 million shares of whatever the IPO is. So just for fun, if you want to challenge us here, note that $47 IPO price. And oh, what a surprise, the middle of March, April, you know, buy when it snows, sell when it goes. People are paying $47 a share for this IPO. That means they're buying when the snow is going. They're actually doing it the exact opposite. So you have to understand that, you know, Wall Street is selling into this event. You know, all the people that, you know, took private equity and, you know, invested in the shill when it was over the counter and all that kind of stuff, they're cashing out. They're taking profits on this event. So the rule of thumb, as we said, is that value on this thing is probably about 50% of wherever that price is, where it came to market. So 47 divided by 2 sounds to me to be about 23 and a half. Well, let's be generous. We'll call it 24. So my hunch is we'll say well, the Beamishes hunch is the stock's value is around $24. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to bottom at $24. There's a really good example of this. And I always use this in the education program and all that. I remember I was a broker through this. I remember specifically when Facebook it IPO'd, it basically did the same thing where they brought the thing out. And I remember when they brought it out, everybody on the street was like, "You're crazy, man. This is like," it was like blatantly obvious that this thing was ridiculously overvalued. And you can see how it came down. And what I would suggest, if you do want to invest in this Reddit idea, is just wait for this thing to actually go and W out. And maybe even then let the W happen and then go and just throw in your reload zone stink bid off of the double bottom breakout level, right? So there's good old Mountain Man. You get a nice juicy fill down below, right off of that original double bottom level right in there. It's not a bad idea. Anyway, so paying IPO prices can sometimes be quite dangerous to your financial health. And this was actually a polite way for this to go. You crypto kids, of course, you all know about coin, and this is the disastrous way it can go sometimes. But hopefully you see history repeating itself. So here is your IPO price. $382. God, and I even remember people on the site talking about friends and family and stuff who went and bought this IPO price. Just look at this. Typical crypto, right? Not 50% haircut, 90% haircut, all the way down to $30. Ouch. Right. And, me even mentioning this, I'm sure probably people are going to turn this video off going, "Oh, I remember that. I bought that. Oh, God. Oh, they are the crooks. And what's all a scam, blah, blah, blah." But just like the Facebook, maybe let this thing settle down, put in some weekly W's. You want to go and work a stink bid? Look at that cute little fill off of this W, off of this breakout and the retest of that bottom right there, right in that area. Same sort of idea. And then you got another W happening here. So I love weekly W's. And of course, any student of mine, anybody who I want to try and teach how to do this correctly, we want to be hunting for these weekly W's. They are the shit. And unless you see that, you probably missed the bull market. And somebody who comes in here, and says, "Well, I'm perfectly happy buying here." Hey, look how smart I am. Then, oh crap, now I look like a fool. I suppose on balance, they're doing okay. I would much prefer that you try and force yourself to get in on a name like looks like this. Like here, you want to see a really good example of one that happened in the stock market, and I'm just kicking myself because I had the most beautiful trade go long Toyota. Look at that freaking weekly W, and I was going on and on and on and on about this. And I even had my stink bid working right off this W bottom, and I missed my fill by 2 bloody cents down here. Talk about piss you off. Anyway, hindsight's 2020. But look at that beauty. I mean, learn this. Jim and Lizzie, Jimmy and Liz. I gotta remember. Should probably be correct in way. Like this is what you really want to find if you're thinking about investing your hard-earned money. And I mean, look at the end result. Holy Jesus H Christ. So I mean, you can come in here. I mean, I suppose, oh, I look kind of stupid. Oh, I look smart. Oh, I look stupid. I look smart. I guess what I'm really trying to say is I love for people to come in down at the bottom ends of ranges, trend line breakouts, W's on other sides of trend lines. And wow, what a trade. I don't really have that here. This is almost like midpoint. And if anything, this kind of bothers me because I think a lot of crypto just did this. We're in this phase right now in crypto. I could very easily see the next year or two another leg up higher. But unfortunately, we're just sort of like right at this point right now. Right here, where I could very easily see us sort of play around in crypto here for a while. But you're probably going to be going through that. Oh, I look really stupid. Oh, I look really smart. Oh, I look really stupid. And you're just going to be second guessing yourself. And I personally prefer that, we try and play the breakouts here of ranges. And I guess that's sort of the same thing as here. Love that kind of thing. So anyway, I guess just the point I'm trying to make, and this was all with regard to the IPO. Market, I mean, it's good to see coin is looking a hell of a lot better now. Seems kind of ironic that Kathy Woods. Be interesting to see where Kathy Woods' actual long bet is. I heard recently that she said she was ringing the register on coin here recently. Maybe she made a profit, maybe she didn't. I don't know. I would say coming in on the long side here probably doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. And also too, we got all that seasonality talk and stuff. Sell when it goes. Unfortunately, we're coming into Brian's birthday. Usually Brian's birthday, ooh, nasty period for the market. Be careful. You're supposed to be taking profits, going and buying Brian outlandish birthday gifts with those profits after you pay taxes, of course, blah, blah, blah. And building sort of powder so you can get ready when the dip does come, and it almost always does. You can be in a position to reload. So, if anything, that's also a good example. I put tweets out recently sort of saying things like, look, if you bought the W's down in here, especially like this one right here, I think that's a cute little W right in there. Like everybody could have bought that. It was on the other side of a really nasty down move here in the market. Show me a W. Hey, there's a W. Then there was a nice Wyckoff check of the W level. I think if you were interested in this, I think everybody could have bought into that. It's pretty good level right in there. Probably also a whole bunch of like indicator information. So down in this area, do we start getting bullish divergences? Notice OBV. Oh, look at that big buying volume there. That's a good sign. Well, you could even make the argument, look at momentum. Momentum actually bottomed way over here. So market was slowly working its way up. Here's a handy little thing for the free broadcasters. Do yourself a favor and just simply ask, what's a 50% retracement? Because that's usually a good level to think about sort of what's the mean on a name. So notice 50% level on this bad boy. We're actually above that. So I think you can make the argument that really this should be sort of your natural bounce level. And anything above that, you're actually talking about like a new bull market. You could notice how you can kind of break this into halves, right? This is the upper part of the trading range. Notice how all these lows. And then this is the bottom part of the trading range. And you can see the market right now is even sort of just asking, okay, well, do I want to be back up in this part of the range? Or am I going to maybe reject and have to come back down into this part of the range? Yeah, it's pretty normal. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. I'd also say too, with regard to something like coin, when can we actually officially declare that this is a new bull market? I don't think that you can actually declare that this is a new bull market here. I know, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? It's 125 now. It's 250. It's like doubled in price. Not a new bull market? No, I don't think so. What I need to see here for me to actually believe that this is a new bull market, I would have actually preferred to see it come down, come back up, then come down, and then just put in a nice W completely on the other side of this trend line, something like over there. Had I seen that, then I'd be like, oh, bullish bots, right? And all that kind of talk setups. And I would think that this actually is a new bull market. But the fact that we just went straight up here, that to me is concerning. Odds are. And of course, anybody that works with me, this is a level 2 concept, working with trend lines. I'd also say too, level 2 concept. We put away a lot of this kind of stuff for the time being. All right. We have an old expression in the market, gaps like to be filled. So we see, oh, there's a big old gap right there. Huge gap there. Suppose that's a gap there. These are all holes on the charts that will need to be filled in at one point. Looks like that's been filled in there. That's a little bit of a gap right there. There's a huge gap there. And I hate to say it, oh, you crazy ass bulls, that's a gap all the way down there. So all of these levels should be traded to at some point down the road. I'd also say too, we probably should do something like just a simple trend line tag. So that's there to there, right? Just plain connect the dots. Don't overthink this stuff. Keep it simple, stupid. Not sure what that was to. So I was just drawing. Oh, is that gap? Maybe that was that gap that I was drawing. No, I don't know what that line is. Anyway, we'll get rid of that. So this is interesting confluence. Yeah, look at that. So notice we could have price come back to this trend line and just play along this trend line for a while. Nothing wrong with that. And then also too, we can have the market come back against this trend line. Nothing wrong with that. So, my friends, X marks the spot. What do you think the odds are if we draw one of those funny little fib things that Beamish guy always likes to do? That it's going to line up with this confluence of trend lines. Talk about a trade location. Go boobity boo, bound to there, and then we'll go like that. And hello. Brian's favorite fib. Yay. I mean, God, this stuff is so cliche. It's ridiculous. So had you bought the bottom on this coin, I think that's your sharpshooter trade. That was just an absolutely killer trade there. And then the patience and discipline trade, just waiting for the pullback and the Wyckoff check of this higher time frame W right in that area. What a surprise. That's right in, ironically enough, our venture cap reload zone. That's where I would say that this thing represents like value trade. Right? You're getting bargain basement discount pricing. The only issue with this, though, of course, is it's a stock, and if the U.S. government says we officially declare Coinbase illegal, well, this thing could go to zero tomorrow. So just understand that with stocks. If anything, that's the one good part about things like POW crypto is if you can assign value to the blockchain and it has like a limited supply, then you can figure out what value is on the actual commodity, which should give you a base pricing mechanism. Stocks doesn't work that way. I mean, they can just issue shares endlessly, and then the underlying business model, the company could go and just take out tons and tons and tons of debt, right? And that's how a lot of these companies turned into zombie companies over the past 10-20 years, and they're just swimming in debt. It's terrible. So anyway, point of the matter here is you can kind of see the writing on the wall. This thing is getting a little bit expensive. You might even argue that we might even be getting up into the areas where professionals might actually consider shorting this thing. That would be your reload short zone. Oh, hello. We all know who this guy is. At least if you're a TRIer, you know who this guy is. They took away my fun little M icon. TradingView did. I don't know why. I guess nobody used it other than me. Anyway, so I use this icon now. And actually, I'm even trading a setup that's sort of a bastardization of a couple different setups that I've been. One guy popular on social media, ICT, I think his name is. Anyway, he likes to trade this fair value gap concept, and I noticed that the trade aligns really, really nicely off of 61.8 fibs. Good old Mountain Man. Brandon Rigo, our killer crude oil trader from back 10, 20 years ago when I was in prop trading land. And actually, I think I'm going to put my opening range trade on hold for the time being and actually trade this. I don't know. I guess we have to give this setup a name. Mountain CT? I don't know what we'll call it. Brandon T? BT? We'll call it the BT setup. I don't know. Anyway, so not a big surprise. You're probably going to see some sort of fight off of Mountain Man here, 61.8 fib. It would just be common sense. Probably also, too, we could do things like fog and bombs, chaos theory, to try and come up with upside objectives. Anything that makes sort of sense here. Oh, what a surprise. Wow, when you see that, holy Shiite Muslim. There is, if I've ever seen one, that is trade location. So not only Mountain Man, but also actually, and that is the bifurcation constant of chaos theory. Anyway, I suppose the guy who founded Interactive Brokers would prefer that I not say anything about chaos theory. Look how 2.618 stopped the bull there, though, eh? God damn, son of a gun. Maybe it's worth listening to this Beamish guy and learning chaos theory. You'd be surprised how powerful that is. So, I mean, just I randomly picked a proxy in the crypto space in the crypto stock market. And I think I can see like at least 3 or 4 reasons why I think price needs to maybe over the next few months, maybe we just have to go through the process. Maybe this is some sort of head and shoulders pattern that has to develop. And you can see how long that's going to take. That would take us right through to July to actually start confirming. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know. Or maybe we just go straight down. Regardless, if you did get pullbacks down into on this coin down to 75 up to, let's call it, I don't know, 100. You know what? I would even say, the big fat round number, make this pretty simple on yourself. I would feel comfortable just saying, you know what, you want to go and buy some of this thing, throw in a bid at like $99.99. Because my hunch is they probably want to trade it back into that area. I would think that that's probably a pretty good objective. Notice too, that would come right into this trend line confluence. So, I mean, you can see market's $255. That's a fair ways down. It's reload zone. It's trend line support, 2 trend line support, trend line confluence support. Ooh, fancy schmancy talk. It is Wyckoff checks of original weekly and monthly W's. It is filling in all these holes on the chart, gaps and gap theory. And it is a trade back down into reload zones, Brian's favorite fibs, all that kind of fun stuff. So, really, I think that's about it for the broadcast here today. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. Bye. There's really not much else to say. I mean, we could. Do you think Bitcoin looks like this? It looks identical. So there's your weekly Bitcoin chart. And this, of course, is the chart that I put out on a weekly basis following along Bitcoin, but it's the exact same chart. It's no difference. All right. Thank you, sir. So I guess my commentary with regards specifically to Bitcoin now, starting at the weekly chart. And I think this is basically what I said in the tweet and the newsletter. For God's sakes, don't listen to this. Fuck, that's just horrible. God, I can't believe that Da Vinci guy. And of course, millions of followers, 100 million newsletter subscribers, and richer than all of us put together. Oh well. Where was I? Where's my fun little rag that I put together here for you? So the tweet that I put out, pretty straightforward. Right now, I think we actually had the potential for a really nasty chart pattern that is usually the hallmark of a reversal in the marketplace called an empire. This is supposed to be a picture of the Empire State Building with a big question mark over it. At the very sort of worst of the selling last week, this was looking very empire-y. And if we finish down at the bottom of this tail here, and it looked like an Empire State Building all filled out, then a move through this low would have been trouble. And I would have said, that's it. The bull market's over. As it stands right now, we've rallied substantially off of the lows, so that's encouraging. The market is finding buyers down here, so that's always a good sign. Of course, Sunday is still relatively young. Anything can happen here between now and the end of the day. And what I did point out, and I even tweeted this out, is this is where I need to speak to you as a rational investor. Now, can you be a rational investor? Who knows? But you can't think like this. This is stupidity. I have no offense. Probably going to get murdered by these people. But charging $5,000 just to hear a guy say, "You must buy Bitcoin and hodl, diamond hands," and that's what you're buying. My goodness, crazy. But what I think you need, like everybody needs to understand this, is that how does the market go through the process of being very expensive? And of course, all the 51%, they've all, they bought the bottom. You heard Fink, I want ETF last summer, and him trouble written all over it. But how do you get price that's like all the way up here? Keep in mind, I mean, Jesus, this damn thing was 15, 20 grand just a year or two ago. So it's all gone all the way up to 70 G's. What is that? That's like 3x, potentially almost 4x. There's a interesting coincidence. The guys that run the Forex market, do they want to 4x this thing? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But how do they get price to actually work its way back down? Answer, unfortunately, is it's a combination of two things. Number one, you got to get the people that were just mindlessly buying. You either have to get them exhausted and they've spent all their money, which, this guy is doing an absolutely admirable job getting all of these people in this room to spend all of their money. Don't think, just buy. So all of these guys that just inherited 5 grand, 10 grand, well, geez, I had to spend $5,000 listening to this guy say this. But like all these guys, they're now mindlessly long. Well, I went to this concert. I paid good money. The guy said, buy Bitcoin and market. Doesn't matter what the price is, just hodl. So I'm in. So these guys all just emptied their wallets into the market. We got to exhaust them. And interestingly enough, right, the cliche in the market, of course, goes buy when it snows, sell when it goes. When does the public actually feel most wealthy? In a weird sort of way, especially if these guys have like 9 to 5 jobs. Maybe they're accountants, in training, lawyers in training. Look at them all. I'm sure they all have social media channels, and they're all social media influencers. It's remarkable how they all look almost like carbon copy to each other, right? They all wearing the dark t-shirts. But anyway, that's here nor there. The point is that they've, whatever money that they have, they got to get them sucked into the market. And the sad thing is that this is actually the window that institutional players, they take profits, buy when it snows, sell when it goes. So keep in mind, most of Wall Street, they're heading off to the Hamptons once sort of May, June rolls around. They don't want to be thinking about the stock market. They want to bought when they were supposed to buy, and then selling into the spring euphoria. And then if, like I said, if you think from a Joe Sixpack kind of perspective, number one, usually more people in the Northern Hemisphere work through the winter, so they've made some money, you know, Uber and, delivering food. They got their side hustles or whatever. And they're like, I gotta buy Bitcoin. I gotta buy Bitcoin, right? Gotta get in there, gotta get in there. So they're doing their thing. There's also tax refunds, so I don't know how much refunds there's going to be these days, but if you do a 9 to 5 and you got to have tax withholding, well, you might have a bunch of withholding that you're expecting a refund. So maybe you go out and borrow some money because you'll pay it back when you get that refund check. You're going to go and buy whatever's hottest here in the market. It's very normal, very typical, nothing new whatsoever. People saving for their retirement. March 1st, we just had the big retirement contribution deadline for the stock market and legacy. And what a surprise. The ETF market, they wanted to make damn sure that this Bitcoin ETF was right into that window. So now all the 401ks, RRSPs in my country, TFSAs, blah, 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 blah. All of that money that's just hot money coming into the market. It wants to find a home. I know, go buy that ETF. Well, how about all those inflows? Haven't you heard those kids talking on the internet about inflows? They're not talking too much about the fact that it's outflows now. And really, all that is just simply if price of the Bitcoin ETF goes up, then it's an inflow. If price of the Bitcoin ETF goes down, that's an outflow. I hate to say it, folks. Markets go up and down. So, but anyway, it's remarkable to watch the narrative through all this. What I would simply say is, and this is what we've been talking about forever around this place, is are there any fundamental events that maybe the market's rallying into? Is there an expression in the market that goes buy when it sows? Snows? No. Yeah, there is. That's a different one though. Buy the rumor. That's the cliche. Sometimes I have to stop and go, okay, no, what cliche am I spitting out to these guys? All right. So buy the rumor, sell the what? What is this sell the what all about? Well, we got a big fundamental event. And keep in mind, in Bitcoin land, these fundamental events don't come around very often. So buy the rumor, sell the news, maybe? Sell the horse rooster? Thank you, Cole. And then interestingly enough that he comments there, of course, we've got a big celestial event window here. And I don't hear anybody talking about this, but there is that eclipse window. Remember, I was talking about it in the stock market earlier. Look at the eclipse event window. Look at the effect that it had on Bitcoin. As soon as the eclipse happened, this thing went fucking crazy. Could that maybe be a pivot low to pivot high? And we have this big fundamental event coming up here. Obviously, nobody can predict the future, but I'll tell you, we're getting a hell of a lot of things that are all sort of piling up here that are just kind of saying, maybe just cool your jets. What I'm worried about here is we could very easily see the highs of this range washed. I would even say that normally Bitcoin likes to pivot on really big, obvious, fat, round numbers. Now, is 73,794, does that sound like a big, fat, round number to any of you? Doesn't sound like one to me. So much is that is not the top. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's one more punch up here through this eclipse window, because keep in mind, things are going to get really screwy in the market here over the next little while. But it would not surprise me one bit if we have both this high washed and this low washed, as we're just now stuck in a trading range. So enjoy the range. Home on the range. Doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's a buy or a sell. I mean, the tweets that I've been putting out recently are you're supposed to learn how to buy in green boxes. And if you ever get a 78.6 event on Bitcoin, fuck, that's a no-brainer. So once again, no-brainer. Up she goes. You have basically a choice of three things. Number one, had you bought down here, for God's sakes, I hope you're paying yourself for your efforts. You know, whether you sold half on a double and you said, Brian, I'm sitting on free coins, I couldn't really care. Okay, fine. Maybe your plan is sell half on a triple. I got this 60 G's. I can't believe this thing actually traded from 20 G's up to 60 G's. I sold half on a triple. I've got free coins. I've got extra money for the tax man. And my wife went and got her a nice session at the beauty parlor. And man, she thinks the world of me. Okay, that works. I don't care. Really, the most important thing here is we got to figure out what works for you as an individual. Lizzie there, she's got this cute little workout guy working out with hubby. Yeah, man, this guy's turning hubby into one hell of a Arnie. And he walks around the house showing off his pipes. Hey, I was there. I watched the Super Bowl with him. So, if that's Liz's investment and her return on her money, so now she's got some fun candy for the bedroom. All right, if it works, it works. I don't care. There you are, Jim and Liz. Woo! I was wondering if I could get a reaction out of you guys. But anyway, the point is that you got to pay yourself for your efforts, right? And if you can get those risk-free trades, well, fucking A. So that's option one. Option two, of course, is you never did buy anything. And the problem there is if you never bought anything, for God's sakes, don't look at your next door neighbor with envy. And, you see that Adam guy coming out of his house and every damn day he's talking about banging out doubles and all that. Nah, fuck it. I'm just going to go buy this thing. We're going to make money. You can't force the issue here. You're going to set yourself up for disaster if you do that. Suppose there was option number three, but I can't remember what option number three is at this point. I know I had three of them when I put the tweet out. What I would just simply say is if you did buy off the bottom, great, awesome, let some go. If you didn't buy, just don't chase. You're not allowed to chase. Just don't do it. Oh, and I suppose that was the second option is if you did buy, but you didn't pay yourself, for God's sakes, pay yourself and just establish that risk-free trade. Make some money, pay for all the fancy candy, right? And all the toys. But if you didn't buy, for God's sakes, do not chase. And don't let emotions like envy and frustration and stuff creep into your trading because it will bankrupt you. It's just as simple as that. Please understand that. It will bankrupt you. You have to exercise patience and discipline. You really do, folks. So at the best right now, what I'm thinking is what we really need to see here is we need to see some sort of consolidation. Because think of it this way, like this is a rubber band that's just been stretched. Rubber bands, of course, don't like to be stretched too far. What do? They often snap back violently. I mean, this was just a very quick little prelude of what could come. But we teach in the education program that any point in time in the market, it doesn't matter what market it is, you should expect 38.2 retracements. You absolutely must. So the rubber band could snap back as far as this teal zone. And one of our OGs on the site, he loved this so much, he went off and started his own trading community. And he likes to call this his pump chaser zone, which makes sense. If you want to chase the pump, great, but don't come in and buy right up top here when everybody's circle jerking. At least have the patience and discipline to wait for things like 38.2s, 50%. And of course, I've talked to you guys at length about this. I think that this cycle is actually very much like the 15-16 cycle, which means that here was its halving event. And what a surprise, don't chase. Have you ever heard Brian say that before? This particular cycle, and it was quite an orgy, right? Right into about a month ahead of the halving event, which is very typical in this space. Notice, if we look at another POW name, where's the best place to show you this one? I guess we can do it here. In fact, actually, we probably should just have it right up top here. Litecoin, I mean, it absolutely textbook what it did. Let's see if I can go regular. There it is. So here was your halving event right there. Notice the peak about a month ahead of the halving event, pulled back, went sideways for a few weeks, and then had another dump following the halving event, which actually ultimately set up the buying window. So, and the irony of it all is if you just draw your reload zone from that high back down to that low and just said, well, that Beamish guy says try and buy in those reload zones. So I'm not going to get sucked into the whole halving event orgy and, listening to those guys on social media just say, go buy it and you're guaranteed to get rich. I'm going to wait for a setup in a buying location. And actually, the irony of it all is about a week or two ago, and actually looks at that, good timing, eh? I mean, a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, around TRI, we had a lot of people going, that Litecoin's looking really attractive down here. And look at that son of a gun go here. So you could have been sucked into buying the pre-halving event pump and you're long from here. And then you got to sit there for 6-8 months, still underwater, losing money. Or you can just be patient and disciplined, wait for reload zones, wait for W's. Hell, you want to get really fancy. Let the market come into the reload zone, then draw another reload zone. Here, let's do it the other way around. Draw another reload zone here and say, I buy reload zones in reload zones. Look at that. Oh my goodness. You'd look like a trading god. If you had drawn this trend, this reload zone after this W and just said, you know what? I'm going to go throw my stink bid. We'll buy a little bit on this W. So can I please have a pullback? And it looks like either this candle or this candle you got filled there. But let's throw in just for fun. We'll throw in a stink bid right at Brian's favorite fib. And you got filled a little bit on that tail right there. And you look like a freaking trading god here. And, at that point, 60, 65 bucks on one fill, $68 on another fill. So we're talking about maybe like $64 is your average cost. So you've got, even now, you're sitting there going, well, I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but I've got my sell half on a double order just sitting up here. And if they want some of my coins, they know exactly where to find me. I'll just be sitting here waiting patiently. And if they want to buy my coins off me, take them, park it up here, and boom, I get myself a risk-free trade. Versus this guy who didn't have the patience and discipline and chased about a month ahead of the halving event. Why? Because he went on social media and these guys were just like, yeah, no, I don't even think about this. Pay $5,000 for my course and just buy Bitcoin. Get that soundbite, eh? And you're sitting here, and where's that guy's double? So that guy's double is, let's say you bought, I don't know, let's say you were generous and you bought, well, even with the pullback, let's say you got in at 95 bucks. That means his double, her double, could be either or, is up here. So, which is probably a more realistic fill to expect. The irony of it is all we got to see is a nice serious test of this original high up here, which I think, both of these are probably realistic. But you could actually make the argument that by the time this guy's getting his first fill, this guy here is actually probably thinking about a second double, getting that off, right? I guess that would be up in this area up here, maybe a little bit higher. But anyway, hopefully, I mean, that's a pretty simplistic illustration, but hopefully you can see the difference. And then also too, heat. I mean, the worst part about this game is when you have to go to the cocktail party and are you going to admit it publicly? A lot of people don't. but say, yeah, I bought here, and yeah, I'm losing a lot of money right now. Most people will just say, I don't want to talk about it. At least when you bought like these reload zones kind of idea down in here, you didn't take a hell of a lot of heat on the trade. That's kind of why I really like buying the bottom ends of trading ranges. So anyway, kind of a fun story. So that's kind of, I mean, this is worst case scenario with Bitcoin. And actually, I did two scenarios here for you. So scenario one is best case scenario. So scenario one is the white lines. So we peak, we come down through the halving event. We do our normal 50% retracement. What does that look like? Looks something along these lines. And that actually would be healthy, normal, clean. Just get rid of the overboughtness. We're back into Collins pump chaser zone. Give us a nice W. Ideally, 3 higher lows would be just perfectly awesome. And then we can start thinking about playing the market long heading into the election in the end of the year. That's like the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, and like I said, keep in mind, the institutional players bid this thing up. They don't want to buy Bitcoin here. They want to buy Bitcoin in reload zones, especially, and you can see there is the overlapping of reload zones. Mountain Man off of the higher time frame, 78.6 off of just this range. That I think is value. And that's what I put here. If I can buy Bitcoins now at about 27, 26,000, 28,000, somewhere in that area, I think it's value. And there is one guy on the site who fights with me at no end. And hey, I totally deserve it. So, that's what makes a market. You want to have strong opinions, loosely held. And if somebody comes along and says, I disagree with you, at the very least, you just have to listen to what they say. You don't necessarily have to agree with them. But the point that I just made here is that I'm hearing repeatedly that cost of production is in this $20,000 to $30,000 area for Joe Sixpack. So that's that comment right in there. And in a weird sort of way, this would make sense, right? Because we're supposed to be rational investors, the rational investor. What we really want to do is we want to do rational investing. What the hell is that? If I call myself a rational investor. And that's where we try and find out where fundamental value and fundamentalists would say, well, that's the cost of production for that commodity. So I'm happy to be long exactly where it actually costs to produce this thing. And technical analysis. Well, based on price action and human behavior and emotional reactions, I want to try and buy at the bottom end of ranges. And some clown says that if I can actually find overlapping reload zones within reload zones, that's really cheap. And that's actually my commentary on this tweet, is I just simply said, and I think actually I was looking at a different asset, but it's all the same logic. I mean, nothing changes in this silly game. This is the asset I was looking at. This is LTO, where if we can identify reload zones to the bottom ends of ranges, this is cheap from a technical perspective. I remember Brian's a cheap ass. So odds are you're going to find Brian buying down at the bottom ends of ranges. And then conversely, at the top end of the range, this is expensive, right? And when the price got up into this area in the past, it was so expensive that the institutional players, whoever they might be, it might be social media influencers in this space, guys like, well, I won't name names, could be institutional players. It doesn't really matter. The market is the market, right? But the long and short of it here is up top here. This is where the market ran into sellers. It was expensive. And interestingly enough, remember our conversation about coin and trend lines? I don't think that this thing's a new quote unquote bull market until we actually put bullish structure in on the other side of this trend line way up here. So that means by definition, bottom end of the range, I'm going to be buying, which I did. Top end of the range, I'm going to be selling, which I plan to. It's not there yet. It's interesting how I might argue from this perspective, if we just look at Collins pump chaser and dump chaser zones and 50% levels, that really we're just sitting at fair value right now. And ironically enough, fair value is actually a double from purchases down off the bottom end of the ranges. So what do you think the institutional players are doing at this level here if they had the balls to step in and buy when price was cheap? Maybe establishing risk-free trades at the fair value level for this asset. It's not overvalued, it's not undervalued, it's actually fairly valued. But the public, all they see is this. Woohoo! If I buy here, this thing's going to the moon. I'm going to get rich. I don't know. That doesn't look like a smart idea. So, this is another way to look at that expression, right? Where this big rally that we've seen over the past year, that's the same thing as Bitcoin. I mean, does it really make sense coming in and buying the top end of the range, and keep in mind, my education program, half of what I'm trying to do is teach you people how to be institutional investors, which is so ironic, right? I want to unpublic you, uncircle jerk you, and I want to get you thinking like when the public is selling and they're panicking and we're coming down into reload zones, that's when I have to actually start forcing myself to buy. Do you all remember what were we supposed to get together over this 23 year? Does anybody remember? How did that go? Get your something together. And now is when you should be taking profits into those public now coming in and going, oh man, this thing's the next best thing since sliced bread. Well, I would say now you want to get your profits together. Anyway, I guess that didn't resonate very well. Didn't even get a single person who said what I used to say week after week after week, get your this together. All right, rant. Hopefully you all get the idea that I'm a little bit skeptical about coming in and throwing too much new money at markets that look like this. I will say, and it's probably worth mentioning, try and keep in mind the bigger picture here. What I don't think a lot of people appreciate is that we are actually in a 3-year swing period that should be on balance bullish. Once we get to the end of this particular crypto market cycle, all bets are off. You want to see another really cool illustration of another reason why I would expect the market to top into here? Check this out. This is so freaking cool. I'll do this and then we'll pop on over to the Q&A document, see another organ answer there. And we'll just do it as a brand new oh man, it's weird how TradingView's done this. So now if I go create a new layout, I got to give it a name. I'll give it blah, 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 blah. All right, so we'll save that. Actually, cool. We got the weekly chart. So we know that the last halving was May 11th. How ironic. It was my birthday. And that was, I think it was 2019. Was it 2019 or 2020? What was the last? I guess it was 2020. Was it then? So May 11th, right in there. Boom. And of course, we know that this is coming up here. April, I will say. I don't know. 29th? No. We'll go 22nd, somewhere in there. So what we'll do is we'll do like a time-based fib study. Not a price-based fib study, but a time-based fib study. And actually, you know what we'll do for fun is let's put on the previous halving event. So that was I got the dates up here. Let's go make it easy on us. And you can see I've already done this before, but anyway. Oh yeah, okay. So there is that the happening there? May 11th, 2020. I don't have it marked. I think that's what it was. And then we had the other one here, July 2016. That's the number I want. So February, July 2016, something like that. Now watch what happens when I do this. I'm going to take the time-based fib study. So this is the price-based, but we'll do a time-based. I'm going to draw my 0 on the this happening, and then I'm going to draw 100% on the next happening. Now watch what mysteriously happens when I do. Notice I have on here. I don't know what I have on here, but we'll set this up. 38.2 fib. And then things like, let's go, but we want to do it beyond, right? So we're measuring the following cycle. So we're going to go 1.382, and then we'll go 1.618, and then we'll go like 1.786. Boom. Now let's stretch this from one happening event to the next happening event. Look what happens. So one happening, next happening. Damn. Is that worth paying attention to? I mean, do you see how that's 38.2? Happening event, top of the market. What's the happening event prior? Who can give me the one prior to that? I mean, this is freaky how consistent this is. I mean, you know, some clown's gonna charge you $5 fucking grand to just sit there in an auditorium and just be told, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Why? Because I'm so fucking cool and I've got a really cool Gucci sweater. I mean, he doesn't say anything else in this thing. It's baffling. He's not teaching people how to build a business plan. He's not teaching them how to run a small business. He's not talking about human psychology. He's not talking about the anxieties of actually being long and seeing price go up and down and how you're going to handle yourself. No. You pay $5,000. You look at my fancy sweater, buy Bitcoin. That's it. $5,000. Thank you very much. Cha-ching. It's this world. I'm giving you the fucking secret of the universe. Isn't that incredible? All right. Yeah. Okay. So there. So somebody said, "What? Okay. So what? Do the previous one. Do the previous one." So the previous one was November, where was it? 2012? Was it that far back? Okay. November 28th. All right, so let's go there, something like that. Then let's clone this, right? And I don't want to give away the secret sauce, so let's back it up here. And then we'll go happening event to happening event, and hello, look at that. Fuck me. I mean, it can't be this easy, can it? And the number of viewers goes down. Oh, this world. So, does anybody want to know the exact date of the next top of the market? Viewers go down. Hello, Chris. Aren't you? Are you enamored by that at all? Yeah, where's Mr. Connor? And actually, Glass Insights, the other guy who answered the get your something together. Not a single response there over on YouTube. So Jim and Lizzie, what do you think? You want to know when the exact date of the next Bitcoin top is? I don't know. Would it be worth knowing? or you could go just pay that $5,000 for that guy's course, and he's just gonna sit there and just say, look at my fancy sweater, but buy Bitcoins and just diamond hands. All right, well, what the hell, for fun, we'll finish off this. This is a great learning piece for all of you. I don't know, Chris, do you think we can make a short out of this? Because I tell you, I mean, Jesus, this is, I don't know whether I want to make a short out of this or whether I want to maybe up my prices for our goddamn education program. Anyway, so here is our upcoming Bitcoin halving event. Well, April 2024. So let's put that bar right there. Oh, and by the way, look at these buying windows. Maybe we should mention that. Look at this, 61.8 to 78.6. Was that a good buying window? How about this? 61.8 to 78.6. Was that a good buying window? What do you think? Is this stuff that maybe you want to add to your repertoire? Hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell. So we haven't seen too much of Colleen of late. I hope she's doing okay in this world. How do we even see whether anybody's even hit the like button to this? I think we turned that off. Anyway, yeah, geez, I'm giving you guys the secret to the goddamn market here. I mean, it's remarkable, and this is for free. Not even any advertising or anything. Geez, I should shut the hell up. Anyway, look at that, only 25 likes. Only half of you even think there's any value in this. That's remarkable. All right, so for fun, let's figure out where the next happening event top will be. And the great part about Bitcoin, right, is it has these fundamental event windows. So it's like nothing changes. So happening event to happening event. And there's 38.2. So it like literally tells you exactly where you should be thinking about getting the hell out. Now, has Brian talked to you at all about wanting to maybe get the front run of the market into the fall of 2025 and then the sort of beginning of 2026? Would that be worth paying attention to, just based purely nothing else, but just purely on the fact that these 38.2 seems to define the bull market in crypto? Absolutely. I mean, it's shocking. Now, you know, as I had said there before, actually, did we do this one? I guess we didn't do this one. So there to there, 38.2 correction window. Yeah, I guess this was the happening. Was this the happening event over here? Yeah, I guess that was way over there. So correction windows, 1.618 to 78.6. Then your sort of pre-halving rally. You can see that that's basically what this is, pre-halving rally. There is the halving event. I do like the idea. You can't really see it too well here. Maybe if I zoomed in. But I do like the idea that there's going to have to be a bit of a hangover here following this fundamental event window. But just try and put this into perspective. So kind of like what I said, you know, about a month or so ahead of the halving event, the market tops out. I think that that's what's happening right now. There's really nothing shocking about what's going on here. And just understand that, you know, the market's going to have to do a bit of digestion. This is a big fundamental event. Yeah, there you go. Millennial Insights makes a comment. So the point I would just say here is, you know, I think, unfortunately, that we're right here. And, you know, this is a weekly price chart. So the people that are going to come in here and, you know, the fact that that guy is selling that course for $5 fucking grand and not even saying anything, and you see the audience are just a whole bunch of young guys who all think they're going to get stinking rich, when really all they're doing is they're just paying for that guy's Lambo, which is just such a criminality of our stupid society. That's the kind of environment that I think that we're in right now. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to zero. And the irony of it all is those people that buy his course and they just buy Bitcoin and they diamond hands and they sweat this shit out over the next month or two. You know, I even put a tweet out the other day saying, you know, and this was with regard to a shit coin, because I, you know, as I said, well, actually I didn't say, but I will say that when we go through this consolidation in Bitcoin, it doesn't necessarily mean that crypto is a sell. But unfortunately, with regard to shit coins and the venture part of the market, you might see that the quote unquote correction is actually pretty damn violent. And why? Because these damn things go up like 3x, 4x. Could you see the thing fall by 70, 80%, which could absolutely be gut wrenching if you're caught long up here? And, if you did this on margin, I used to remember I was a broker for a million years. They actually put rules in the stock market that you could not settle stock transactions with a credit card. They specifically said that because people used to, at the tops of markets, come in and buy stock with credit cards. Now, what a coincidence in this unregulated crypto space. You see a lot of people make reference, hey, buy crypto on a credit card. That is the stupidest fucking thing you can possibly do. And that's coming from a money management perspective. That has nothing to do with, oh, you're going to get rich trading Bitcoins and all that kind of shill nonsense. That's just, let's keep you out of trouble. I have a fiduciary responsibility. And oh, by the way, I don't mean to be rude, but Mr. Just buy Bitcoin and you'll get rich guy, he also has a fiduciary responsibility. And why do you think that these regulators are coming down so fucking hard on this crypto space? It's because of assholes like this who don't understand that they should have a fiduciary responsibility to come out and say, you're going to buy Bitcoin after it's already gone up 300% in the past year? What are you, crazy? Drives you crazy because I don't make any money for any of this, right? It's totally free. I don't jack all you up for advertising revenue, but I could very easily see that we go through a period like this. And unfortunately, through this period, some of the altcoins are going to get absolutely destroyed. That's just the brutal reality of capitalism. And the irony of it all is that a good buy is a good buy is a good buy. Chasing something like this that's already worked its way up here, well, you're kind of asking for trouble. Actually, Litecoin's not the best example. Where's some of our poop coins that have gone crazy? In fact, actually, there's one that just ran into a double level of mine, and I should be selling half on a double right now. But you're going to have people in the public that are going to actually be coming out wanting to buy the damn thing right now. This LTO. I'm long from where you're supposed to be long. In fact, actually, I'm long from a little bit higher because I think I did an initial buy off of this W down here, and I think it's a good idea. Nanny nibbles buy Ws. And I wasn't able to add to the trade. I totally wanted to add some here, but I got all completely flustered last fall. It was so bizarre. I went into such a weird mental state there. But when I was supposed to be buying and loading up here, I didn't do any more buying. It was kind of stupid. But anyway, point of the matter here is I did buy some off of this. I should be selling into that rally. But what do you think the public is going to be doing right now? And it drives you crazy because I can't stop you people. I don't know what to do. All I can say is, okay, fine, you're going to buy. You're buying into my sell orders. And that's usually what happens in this game. Because you come in on the buy side and I'm on the other side going, okay, fine, here. We call it spoon feeding the market as this thing works its way higher. We got one OG on the site, Sharktoshi. Man, every bloody day he's like, all right, more spoon feeding, more spoon feeding. And the great part about it is he's got a 1-year-old baby at home. So he actually has physical anecdotal evidence of what spoon feeding is actually like in reality and in the marketplace. He can actually make the connection between what real life spoon feeding a baby. Oh, here you go, sweetie. Here, have a little bit more. Here, have a little bit more. And it's the exact same thing as the public, what we're doing to the market and the public. All right, you want a little bit of this one? Fine. Okay, here you go. Have a little bit of this. I'm not going to sell all my bag, but I'm definitely going to spoon feed you. And, if I get filled here on a double, you even know exactly where the next sell order is, right? It's just sell half on a double, sell half on a double, sell half on a double. Just keep spoon feeding the market. Okay, man, Jesus, that 45 minutes just went by. So, well, anyway, did anybody get any value out of that exercise? Can you give me some feedback here? Is it of any value knowing exactly the exact date that the next Bitcoin peak cycle is going to come? Is that of any value to any of you? If it isn't, then I give up. There's no point in me doing these damn videos anymore. Hey, Cheryl! Hey! You know what? That is absolutely perfect timing. Okay? Because I'm about to give up, and then you come along, you post, and you're the whole reason why I do this. So excellent timing, Cheryl. That was perfect. All right, so let's go ahead on over to the Q&A document. And actually tomorrow I have to spend a good portion of the daily brief going through the rest of the little old lady bag and telling you what other sell halves on doubles and all that kind of stuff we were doing there, because the site update is just garbage right now. But that's entirely my problem and my apologies. So that's why I'm going to dedicate the probably 2 days a week after parties, doing nothing more than just updating you guys on all of that trading. So I don't see the AMA document here. Did you post it in our little conversation here, Chris? I can scroll up, I suppose. I'll just scroll up and see if I can find one. Oh, God, how long ago was it? There it is, AMA. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. All righty. Yeah, this is turning into a long document. It's like 50 pages now, eh? All right, let's put you over here. Doink. And then let's go down here. Zunk. All right. All right. Yeah, last week we talked about Forex, and I was like, stay the hell away from Forex. All right. Hi, Brian. I have a question regarding your approach to your FA portfolio. Remember that this is Sjord's driving this bus. So who's asking this question? The number one answer I would give for you is this is a question you should ask on Tuesdays. So I think what I'm going to say here is FA port is run by Sjord. So probably best to ask on Tuesday, Pen Cook Day. Sjord is on Daily Brief After Party Show. So that's my first response, regardless of answering the question. I don't really want to step on Sjord's toes. He has taken the education program. He knows how to invest. I think his adherence to technical criteria could use some work, but keep in mind, he's only been doing this for 5 years or so. So that will come with time, patience, and discipline, yada, yada, yada. I do see him growing as a portfolio manager, and I have yet to run into anybody in this crypto space that can out crypto Sjord. He is absolutely an absolute genius when it comes to crypto. And really programming and doing anything online. Well, not anything online, that's pretty vague. But you get the idea. He's, in my eyes, he's an absolute gem. I think he does incredible fundamental analysis. And so really, with regard to that portfolio, we call it the FA portfolio specifically because I have now a track record working with Sjord, and I think I have 120% confidence that if Sjord thinks an idea is a good fundamental idea, I want to jump all over it, all fucking over it. And I cannot stress enough to all of you, you should be doing the same damn thing. I will say that he will never come to you and say, I want you to buy this. Never. And I will never do that to you. Never. And then that way, you know that there is no conflict of interest here at TRI. We don't have any vested interest in anything that you buy. If anything, our vested interest is this Beamish guy has built this course over a 36-week period that he believes that if you follow that course program from beginning to end, that you will be an intelligent, rational investor by the end of that process. Other than that, there's not anything else on the site that I would pound the table about. If you want to, I'm an open book. I tell you about all the futures trading I'm doing, all the adventures I'm having in that space, trading setups. And I definitely think that there is a process involved in how you create setups and how you create your justification for you actually risking your hard-earned money. That's all part of that course material. And don't kid yourself. I don't want to hear anybody talking about cutting corners. Hey, you know what? If I throw enough money at you, Beamish, maybe I'll throw $5,000 at you. If I throw enough money at you, can you tell me then that I'll be able to learn this in about 2 or 3 days of work? The answer is an unequivocal no. No, 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 no. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at this. In fact, there is no dollar figure for you actually having practical, real-time life experience in the market, applying these principles that we're trying to teach you. You cannot buy that. Doesn't matter. I don't care how big your wallet is. You just will not be able to buy it anywhere. All right. Well, that was a mouthful. Now let's maybe answer the rest of the question, or at least read the rest of the question. Maybe I can answer it. So let's see. Specifically, how do you identify your price target? Price targets usually, in my opinion, now I don't know whether when you say specifically how do you identify your price target, are you talking about buying levels or selling levels? Obviously, selling levels are a direct function of buying levels. How do you define your buying levels? If Sjord likes a project, number one, I like him to just go and grab a little bit of it. Now remember, TRI has 2 rules of investing. You're never given permission to ever break those 2 rules of investing. Ever, 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 ever. You're never allowed to do that. If you break them and you go belly up, it's your own fucking fault. I've actually seen, and remember, I've been doing this a long time. If you follow the 2 rules of investing, it's actually difficult to lose money at this game. The problem is nobody follows rule number 2. So, as I said there a moment ago, I like Sjord just to go and grab a little bit of it, just get some on the books. Follow rule number 2, though. And if I want to add to the trade on technical strength, W's, momentum divergence, great trade location, it's getting even better trade location. Great. Well, you know what rule number 2 is. Just don't ever break that. So maybe that means you take rule number 2 and you chop that into little chunks. And the first part that you're just going to go and buy is a chunk of that 5%. Okay, fine. Point is, can't break rule number 2. Then you can always add to the position going forward. Given that you primarily rely on fundamental analysis for purchasing FA portfolio crypto, do you also determine a target price using technical analysis? Well, ironically enough, even when it comes to little old lady and really when it comes to futures trading and all that, it's all kind of predetermined. It's a function of risk, right? You always take a risk first approach. Ideally, I want to get into a risk-free trade as fast as possible. If I'm trading futures contracts, leverage positions, margin trading, I want to ideally have a minimum of a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio that's realistic. Don't just come up with some willy-nilly crazy-ass 2-to-1 level. Like buying Bitcoin here now to get a 2-to-1. Yeah, that means you're not selling half until you see $180,000 of Bitcoin or $150,000 of Bitcoin. Come on, is that really a smart move? Point here is The selling process should be a function of the buying process. Kind of like what I showed you with that LTO. I bought some, but I actually wanted to buy some more, but I forgot to buy the other half, which sucks horse cocks. But the price has still doubled from my original purchase price of the half position that I got. So I still should be selling half on a double and establishing that risk-free trade. I can always add another car if the price pulls back. And I would just say it's the exact same logic on the FA names. If Sjord does want to reload when prices come back down to earth, okay, he's got the discretion to. The only thing that I ask him, and I always ask him this, and I ask all my business partners, some have a much more difficult time listening to what I teach students, which drives me crazy because I would have thought my partners would do exactly the same thing that we teach in the education program and that I try to demonstrate on the site through things like the little old lady portfolio and futures trading and stock trading. But the point is you should always think, how do I get into that risk-free trade as fast as possible? That is my number one objective. If it's sell half on a double, great. That's in your plan. I would have the sell order work in the day that you buy the damn asset. Just as simple as that. Then that way, when it does double, you don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm trying to do this shit through DeFi, and it's a bit of a challenge, and the fees are extremely high. So I've actually personally acknowledged that doing little old ladies through DeFi is probably not the best way to go unless you're dealing in very large account sizes, because ETH gas fees are ridiculous. And then other people say, well, why aren't you trading on Cosmos? And I say, well, because I'm too stupid. Remember, all I do is I buy, sell. I don't understand all these damn networks and having to remember wallets and secret keys and all that. I mean, I'm not that. Somebody said there, this is brilliant. I've just been at this stupid game of risking money in the marketplace and being a financial planner, being a prop trader, being an options broker, being a commodities broker. I mean, I've just done the game so long, I know how the rules go. But when it comes to something like DeFi, that's where Brian is dumb as fuck. So hopefully that starts answering some questions with regard to where are you buying, where are you exiting. All I really want out of Sjord is make a good solid investment that you feel confident in, and to the tune of like 5-figure investing dollars, which to me 5 figures is 5 figures. That's some money. If that goes up 10x, that becomes 6 figures. And then we start talking some serious dough. That goes up 100x, and we're going to start talking about buying islands, which we fully plan to do into this cycle peak. That was the whole plan of this. And actually, I'm very proud of Sjord. He is executing. He bought names that he really likes. They've gone up substantially. He's made some pretty good exit trades to establish risk-free trades. And now it's just a question of just letting that free capital work. Just let it do its thing. Okay, FA crypto, do you determine a target price using technical analysis? If that's the case, I'm curious to understand what role, if any, technical analysis plays in your fundamental portfolio strategy. I would say that if I started to see signs on the weekly, I think here, if I started to see signs on the weekly basis of things like momentum divergences, then that is where technical analysis comes into the game. And I start saying, you know what, we got to think about getting the hell out of here. And this is a really good example of that. Weekly price charts, bearish momentum divergences, Willie stupid. Don't fall in love with this shit. A top is coming into the market. Also, too, if we think about things like Feigenbaum and chaos theory, we showed you how to apply time-based analysis techniques. Well, frick, is that the top of the hour? God damn it. Time moves so fast. Well, unfortunately, I got to end it there, folks. But what I would say is, this last cycle, I worked with a guy and he said, you know what, I'm going to step in and buy Bitcoin against the bottom end of the range, and I'm going to look to take profit at Feigenbaum levels. chaos theory, bifurcation 4.669. So that got him basically taking profits on his Bitcoin investment into that window. Was that a smart move? And now you have the timing window, so you know exactly where you want to be liquidating and taking profits. Also, we said that on this event, we had lots of warning from our indicators that, hey, price isn't nearly as strong as you think it is. I mean, where the fuck did the buyers go on this move here? It was a total trap. And of course, who drive me crazy comes in and says, don't respect technical analysis. Just please buy Bitcoin right now and you'll get rich. And how did that go? So I think you can make the argument that we make a pretty good case that you can use technical analysis to give you a pretty good idea of upside objectives. And there's no reason why you can't do all of these in your altcoins as well. And oh, by the way, they paint some pretty, like you do this on render. Oh boy, the upside objectives get pretty crazy into that 25, 26 peak. So hopefully that helps. Jesus, it's already 1 o'clock here. I don't know whether I can, answered a bit in show as well. But what I would say is if you specifically have questions about the FA portfolio, ask on Tuesday when Stuart's on the call. And Chris, can you maybe put a note in the daily brief thing for Tuesday, because you do that daily write-up. Can you please circle around and address this question with regard to the FA portfolio and how you're going to use technical analysis in the management of these positions on Tuesday for that conversation with Stuart? Can you make a note of that, please? Okay. I would love to cipher, maybe ask me tomorrow on the daily brief, because I'll go through a whole bunch of names. And obviously, I'm going to have to do these questions tomorrow as well. All right, cool. Let's see if I can just quickly answer this. Hi, Brian. Can you look at these charts and tell me if I've drawn the trend lines correctly? Thanks, David. Trend lines, really all it is confirmed market structure. If you don't have confirmed market structure, yep, so they're up, down, up, breakdown. You can do it off of there. A lot of times I notice guys in the market, they don't really like to use these blow off peaks. What I would suggest you do is drill down to like a 4-hour time frame, maybe even lower than that, 30-minute. See if there's any kind of market structure that you can use on this. I don't mind this though, up, down, because think of this, right? Went up, came screaming back down, went back up, then down, then up, and then boom, confirmed the market structure. I don't really mind that. This market structure was confirmed right here on that move to that new low, so I don't mind that as well. You could have done one just off of this pattern, and then you could also done one off of this pattern, because these are both confirmed market structures. You could have, okay, and I think I'm going to leave it at that. So I don't mind this. And just try and remember that the validation of these trend lines is if you see the market actually coming back and respecting the trend line on repeated occasions. Like you kind of notice this one here, market hasn't been able to get back to this trend line. So what I might suggest is maybe even draw this and do it as like, I would actually say this has been confirmed. So you've written potential here, but that actually went through those lows down there. So I'd actually change that to confirmed. But I might even draw a few trend lines on here. And I think that the important thing is if you see the trend line traded to 3 times, then you've probably got something that the market is respecting. So this one here, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if you drew even like kind of like the same logic that you did here. Draw off of this. And I definitely like this. Up, down, up, fail. So there to there, and then notice we came in here. And if we got any kind of W on the other side, and notice we went up, we went down, we went up, and now we're drifting down. So I'd actually make the argument I like a trend line off of here. And had we gotten a W in here, you might have had a nice little rally to really test that level in earnest. So not bad. I mean, you're heading in the right direction. Would like to see multiple tags of this trend line though, and it was confirmed by market structure on the move through that low there. So FYI. Okay. Okay. One other one, and then I gotta head out to Lily. Okay. Boom. Okay. Oh, I love this. That's solid. Nice. Yep. Very good. Notice. Yep. We came down here. Is this a sell signal? I don't think so. You break this trend line now. Can I have an M over here? And that would be a really kick-ass sell signal. So the fact that we went so far away from it, notice, look how we had to oscillate and come right back to it, then underneath again, then right back to it. The market is really respecting this level. Then a break above it. Can I get a W on the other side of the trend line? Oh, came back to the trend line. No W. I mean, I suppose you could have said, well, that's not a railroad tracks, but I personally would have liked to have seen a nice W here. That would have set up a really kick-ass trade. This thing's grinding its way higher. You know what I would say though, right? V tops and V bottoms need to be tested. I like how you've done this line. Could have done a really fast trend line off of that peak to that peak, like straight down there. And then, this W right over here, although it's sloppy, that was a buy signal on the other side of that trend line. And I suppose you could argue maybe even this W over here was on the other side. This is an interesting one because this is a good example of swing low and swing high. And you can see even more swing low, swing high. You can really see this is a very powerful trend line. Be interesting to take this trend line and draw it over time back to the origins of this chart. I bet the market's played with this line a lot. So on balance, I don't mind what you've done here. I would have actually liked to have seen you draw a trend line off of these lows. That would have been kind of cool. And really, I would say that, based off of this market structure, it's not bad. I mean, it really isn't. You're getting lots of respect. Interesting how the market respected this. This is a good, I was showing you a trend line confluence on, I think it was Coin earlier. You might get that kind of price action on that trend line confluence on Coin. That was a trend line off of the top and then also off of the bottom, same sort of thing. When you get those trend line confluences like that, super powerful signal. Probably had you drilled down to like a lower time frame chart. This is a weekly chart. Yeah. So if you had drilled down, in fact, that was the eclipse pivot there last fall. So my hunch is if you had drilled down to a lower time frame chart, let's even look at this tomorrow in the after party and let's dissect that because I think there was one hell of a buy signal there. And had you had these trend lines working and said, well, Brian, it sure looks to me like we're coming into a trend line confluence. We got that eclipse window coming up here. I really like the idea of hunting longs in here. That would have been a pretty slick entry. So, and of course, there's your trade. Boom. Yeah, looking at this now, we should all look at this and go, holy crap, this thing's, it's got a bit of vertigo here. This is looking very scary. Oh, anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. I think on balance, though, I'm okay with what you've done here. I don't really see a problem with that. You've gone here to here, here, here. Ooh, interesting. We gapped through the level here. That was that huge reversal candle here. That also looks like a pretty important level as well. Yeah, I think you've done it. I'm surprised actually you didn't draw like a head and shoulders pattern here. It kind of looks like it. This shoulder though was a bit lower than that shoulder. Well, I guess that must have been a bit sloppy. I don't mind these. I think you're heading in the right direction. There's nothing wrong with what you've done here. I don't know whether, like kind of like what you did here, this little trend line here. We might actually find that you have a big pullback like this, and the market has to come slamming back down into that level. What do you think the odds are that if you did a reload zone off of that range, that level right in there is actually in the reload zone? I bet it is. Maybe even 88.6. So, no, I think generally speaking, you're doing okay there. Okay, got to head off to Lily now. So everybody, wish me luck on the road. Drive safely. Get Lily back home in one piece. We'll circle around and we'll look at these questions. And if if tonight I think actually I'd really like to see this or that. I might dude up some notes. So David, we'll probably circle back around and look at your charts again tomorrow. And then Mr. 3 and Mr. 4, unfortunately, we're going to have to get to you tomorrow. So, okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Hey, I gave you all just a massive value bomb there today. Totally free of charge. The only thing you had to do is you had to put up with the Beamish for an hour and a half. All right, have yourselves a great day. All the best. Hugs and kisses. And the only thing left for Brian to say to you, good people, is bye for now.